Back to my channel. Fragrances are something that I absolutely love. Second past skincare. Skincare is always going to be my number one love, but then I really love fragrances. I have a huge collection of fragrances, mostly from French houses like Christian Dior, Givenchy, Guerlain. I have a lot of fragrances from Guerlain. So I really love fragrances, so I thought, Christian Dior has some of my favorites. So today I'm going to start with my favorite Christian Dior fragrance, Diorissimo. So first off, I do want to say a couple things. This is the Eau de Toilette, and this is the newer version of Diorissimo. So it has been reformulated. I'm not sure what year it was reformulated. So this is not the original that came out in 1950 something. This is an updated version. First off, with our bottle, we have this beautiful glass bottle here. On the top, we can see the Christian Dior logo is inside the stopper. We have the beautiful silver threading around the neck of the bottle. And then we have Diorissimo Eau de Toilette engraved into the bottle here. And then our juice, which is what we call the fragrance itself. The juice is this like really light amber gold color. So the reason I decided to start this series with Diorissimo is that this is probably my number one fragrance like in the world. I would even go so far as to say that this is my signature scent. I wear it almost all the time. If you're not familiar with Diorissimo, the kind of main note in here that the fragrance is embodying is from the flower, the lily of the valley. Lily of the valley is one of my lucky tokens. It was one of Christian Dior's lucky tokens. It's a lucky token for pretty much all of France. There is a holiday called Fête du Muguet, which Muguet is the French name of Lily of the Valley. That holiday, if you will call it that, falls on May 1st, which is the day after my birthday. So technically it's celebrated in France on May 1st, which is April 30th here in the States. So it's celebrated on my birthday. And then in that holiday, the Lily of the Valley is considered a very lucky token. It's representative of joy and peace and happiness and fortune, prosperity, abundance, good luck. So French people give little bundles of the Lily of the Valley to people. A lot of stores sell them during that. They're usually tied with a very simple ribbon, and you give them to people to wish them a very, joyous upcoming spring. And it happens in spring because that is that time of, newness and renewing and reawakening and, kind of like a rebirth. So as I mentioned, the Lily of the Valley was one of Christian Dior's lucky tokens. In fact, you can still see that representative in some of the house's products today. It's usually embroidered into a gown, or it's used in packaging. It's used online in displays. It's still to this day used because it was so significant to Christian Dior himself. In fact, every day Christian Dior would wear a fresh sprig of Lily of the Valley in the buttonhole of his suit. On his first runway show, he sewed them into the hems of all of the dresses to ensure that that first fashion show would be a success. So it was very important to him, and he used it throughout his history and the house itself. And then, as I said, it's still being used today in the house in different ways. And Christian Dior really believed that the Lily of the Valley was a symbol of happiness, good hope, good fortune, and joy. So when Christian Dior set out to create a fragrance based on the scent of Lily of the Valley, he said he wanted a fragrance that was the scented expression of his soul. Diorissimo was one of the first fragrances that Christian Dior himself actually worked on, and he created it in 1956 is when he set out to create this, and he worked with famed perfumer Edward Root-Niska. And Dior was a huge fan of flowers. Roses, Lily of the Valleys particularly, that is very apparent in the house even now with fragrances like Miss Dior and of course Diorissimo and Lucky. Those flowers particularly were very important to him. Christian Dior grew up in a house that had beautiful gardens that were tended by his mother. His mother was a huge fan of gardening and flowers, and Christian Dior used to help her out. Even in his own house, when he first bought his own house, he set out to create those gardens of his childhood. And even until the time of his passing, he was very active in his gardens and tending to the flowers. In fact, one of Christian Dior's most famous quotes is that after women, flowers were the most beautiful thing that God has created. Okay, so let's jump into the fragrance itself. The main notes we have in here are Lily of the Valley, jasmine, and ylang ylang. There's some other notes in there, but those are the three main notes. Now, to me, I really don't get the ylang ylang. I'm not like a huge fan of ylang ylang, so I don't really get that much in this, thankfully. I also do want to note that Lily of the Valley is actually one of the few flowers that you cannot actually extract the scent from. So anytime you have a Lily of the Valley based fragrance, that Lily of the Valley note is going to be synthetically made. So including in Diorissimo, that is a very synthetic Lily of the Valley. However, I do want to say that the notes that I get in here, for me personally, I feel like upon initial spray, all the way down to the dry down and after several hours of wearing, the fragrance does not change for me. I get a very beautiful combination of Lily of the Valley and jasmine actually is another one of my favorite flowers and fragrance notes. I love jasmine in anything. So to me, on spray, you get that beautiful, like kind of citrusy of the ylang ylang, but like I said, it's very soft, it's not overwhelming. And then this dries down to a beautiful, to me, it's a very true Lily of the Valley scent, the best that you could possibly get from a synthetic. I've tried other Lily of the Valley based scents and they're just not as good as Diorissimo. Now, if you are familiar with Christian Dior, in the fragrance Privé collection, there is a scent called Lucky, which is based off of Lily of the Valley. And again, its whole story is that it comes from Christian Dior's love of the Lily of the Valley and how it was one of his lucky totems. So I actually have Lucky as well. So I'm going to do a separate video on Lucky, and then I'm going to do a video where I actually compare the two. There's some similarities, but there's also a lot of difference between the two, even though they're both Lily of the Valley scents. So to me, I find Diorissimo to be a very true Lily of the Valley scent. It's very light, it's very crisp, it's very reminiscent of spring, which is the perfect time right now to have that spring fragrance. I think it wears very well into summer as well. And for me, because it is very bright and crisp and light, I actually do find this to be a unisex scent. I don't really believe in scents having sex or gender or to be very specific. I think you wear what you like. I would say 98% of my fragrances are actually quote unquote women's fragrances because I tend to love more sweeter floral fragrances. So those don't often get made for men. A lot of men's fragrances are, you know, vetiver or citrus or very woodsy. And I don't really like woodsy incensey scents. I tend to go more towards florals. So to me, this is a very light floral, perfect for spring or summer. It's very crisp, it's very light. I think you can wear this to the office, you can wear it to a special event, you can wear it to the beach. I think it's a scent that really kind of trans every situation and event in your life. And I even dare say would wear it in fall and winter because it is very light. Typically in winter we want to wear those warmer, heavier fragrances, but I think you can really wear this all year long. So that's it for our review of Diorissimo. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the question box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to go follow me on Instagram. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.